Something just happened, a secret meeting, and it might just signal the end of American power as we know it.
You know, there's this ancient warning from Niccolo Machiavelli, and it's playing out right now, today, right in front of our eyes.
See, something extraordinary is unfolding. All around the world, America's closest allies, they're forming new alliances, and the one person they seem to be uniting against, Donald Trump.
It all started with a quiet meeting in Oslo, Norway, but the message it sent to the world was deafening. And here's the crazy part. Almost everyone missed it.
So you've got 6 nations, right? All of them key American allies, and they gather in secret. The person leading this meeting, Mark Carney. You might know him as the former governor of the Bank of England. This guy is a serious global power player. And their goal? What was to build a future based on shared security. A future that, and this is the key part, doesn't rely on the United States.
And who wasn't invited to this conversation? The United States. Let's be clear, this wasn't some accident. It wasn't an oversight. It was a deliberate and, frankly, a chilling signal.
And then things got even more explicit. The Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen, she gets up and openly thanks Mark Carney. But not for diplomacy, no. She thanks him for helping Denmark resist Donald Trump. She even called Trump's push to buy Greenland totally unacceptable pressure. Think about that. This wasn't just a simple thank you. It was a public declaration of defiance.
And she didn't stop there. Mette Frederiksen then made this absolutely stunning declaration. The old world order is gone. This isn't just political talk. It's a crystal-clear signal that America's allies are actively building a new system, and they're building it without Washington.
And just when you think the message can't get any clearer, it gets sharper. Norway's Prime Minister, Jonas Gahr Støre, starts putting serious distance between his country and the U.S., especially over the conflict with Iran. And his words, they were brutal in their simplicity. This is not our war. You have to understand, when a NATO ally says something like that, it's not just a statement, it's a fundamental break.
Okay, so all these signals, they're not random. They're not just coincidences. They actually follow a terrifying historical pattern, a pattern that was laid out centuries ago by Niccolo Machiavelli. It's a pattern that shows exactly how a great power begins to collapse.
See, Machiavelli had this theory. He warned that rulers don't usually fall because of the enemies they can see coming. They fall when their own friends, their allies, quietly, slowly start to move away. It's a cycle that always starts with these polite, quiet meetings, just like the one in Oslo, and it always ends with a new order emerging from the shadows.
But this kind of collapse, it doesn't happen overnight. Machiavelli laid it out. It happens in 3 distinct, escalating stages. And the truly chilling part, we might be watching them unfold right now, in real time.
So, stage 1, political distance. And you can see it happening right now. The U.S. is facing off with Iran in the Strait of Hormuz, this critical choke point. They call on their allies for help, and what happens? Japan says no, Germany says no, Australia says no. The message is spreading like wildfire. This is not our war.
And that political distance, it leads directly to the second and much more dangerous stage, strategic independence. This is the point where allies stop just saying no to America and they start building their own security structures that can work perfectly fine entirely without Washington.
Just look at what's happening. Over in France, President Emmanuel Macron is talking about a European defense strategy, one built around France's own nuclear arsenal. At the exact same time, that Northern Alliance, the one led by Mark Carney, they're busy locking down military control over the Arctic. These are not isolated events, people. They are the building blocks of a new system, a system that doesn't need America at its center.
And here's the thing about power. When all the alliances start to fray, that power doesn't just disappear. It has to go somewhere. It flows. And right now, it looks like it's flowing into 2 new global power centers that are literally pulling the world apart.
You can almost see it. 2 new gravitational centers are forming. On one side, you have that Northern Alliance, Canada, the Nordic states, and on the other, a rival bloc is getting stronger every day, Iran, Russia, and China. And where's the United States? Caught right in the middle, in the turbulence between these 2 rising forces.
And just in case you think this rival bloc is some kind of theory, think again. Iran's deputy foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, he came right out and said it, plain as day. Iran's strategic partners are Russia and China. And he confirmed their cooperation is getting deeper on every front, political, economic, and military. At the same time, you've got traditional U.S. allies who feel completely betrayed. There's a Kuwaiti analyst reporting that Gulf states poured billions into building relationships with figures like Jared Kushner, and what did they get in return? War and instability. And you have to remember, when loyalty becomes a one-way street, allies don't just sit around and complain. They start looking for new partners.
It's not just political power either. Even moral authority is starting to erode. As certain American figures try to use religion to justify conflict, the Vatican is pushing back hard. Pope Leo XIV made it clear that God cannot be enlisted in darkness. And for a student of power like Machiavelli, this is a huge red flag. Losing your moral legitimacy is a critical step towards losing power itself.
So what does all this add up to? This global realignment, it's creating an incredibly dangerous power vacuum. And the consequences of all these quiet little shifts, they're starting to escalate with terrifying speed.
And we need to be clear, this isn't just about political handshakes and alliances on a map. This is a battle for the actual foundations of power in the 21st century. We're talking about control over the critical minerals that fuel all our technology. We're talking about dominance in artificial intelligence, and we're talking about strategic control of the Arctic and all its resources.
Which forces us to ask the really big question here. Is all of this just chaos? Or are we witnessing the first calculated stage of a massive global realignment? It's possible that quiet little meeting in Oslo wasn't the start of something, but the moment it revealed a geopolitical shift that's now impossible to reverse.
And that, right there, is probably the most unsettling thought of all. Because if you look at history, rulers are almost always the last to see the change coming. They operate as if they still control the whole board, but the pieces have already moved against them. So the question is, has the shift already happened, and we just haven't realized it yet?
Think about it. The pattern is in motion. The distancing has already begun. The new alliances are forming as we speak, and all of it leaves us with the most chilling question of all. Are we just watching the very first move in a chain reaction that's about to change everything?